Hi Magda, you are an experienced diversity, equity, and inclusion practitioner. So I would really venture in class and think that must have been very easy for you to write a chapter about equity. Tell me more about the process. How is it like for you?
As a person experiencing workplace culture and relationships. So I wanted to find a balance between, sharing my expertise and my personal stories. In the end, I did land on a topic that I thought was interesting and could be intriguing for others, as it has been for me. So a bit of a gap between structural or organizational equity and behavioral equity. I noticed this gap in the workplaces everywhere, and it is rooted, in systemic inequities. So consequently, I can see that organizations really often fail to equip leadership, management, and workforce, on how to really create equitable behaviors and inclusive cultures. So, digging deeper into that kind of brought me to narrowing down the scope of my chapter. And Adele, when I was reading your chapter, I was intrigued by something you mentioned in your chapter called equity is in the air.
Yes.
Could you please explain more?
When I was exploring for the equity on my side, I'm actually not a, professional expert like yourself, but I'm working in a global MNC, so I do have some form of corporate experience, and I realized the equity is truly in the air. And imagine this is not just about work. Imagine this is the common shared space that you and I, when we speak, the airspace that everybody is sharing, be it in the media, at work, at home, or, at school. Everyone's voices are actually worthy to be heard if the person chooses to speak for themselves. However, I have to say, I don't think, a lot of the time we are addressing it, appropriately. Sometimes maybe some people may speak a bit louder, so maybe those opinion may be taken more seriously. So what I would really like to address in the equity form is that common right for you and I to share, for you and I to protect, so that if anyone chooses to voice their opinion, they are being heard. Dig a little bit about your chapter. So in your chapter, you also talk about something very interesting, inherent biases. Tell me something more.
An interesting area because we all have biases.
Yes.
Not everybody thinks actively, proactively about it, but we do have biases, all of us, on a lot of different in a lot of different areas.
Yeah.
We make thousands of decisions every day, and our brains are set in such a way that they create shortcuts to save time and energy, and those mental shortcuts are called biases. And because we grow in a specific culture, we develop a very ethnocentric and incomplete view of the world.
Yes.
So it's easier for us to really default to the culture we know, our own culture, and that for the reason we usually oscillate towards people who are like us, who come from similar cultures. And a lesson that it has given me to, learn about being curious and about being open to unknown, because that's what pushes us out of our comfort zone, identify the biases that we experience, and then in the end helps us learn something about that different culture. And once we start learning about different cultures, that's when we start building better equity, better behaviors, and that's how we, by getting uncomfortable, we are getting a bit more comfortable with the difference, with the diversity. So Adele, I really loved your quote about equity is not about frequency. Equity is about presence. Could you please tell me more about it and share an example of what you mean by that?
Equity is about how do you exert your presence to get your idea through, and this has to be taken from both sides. The person who speak also need to be clear about what impact you're making, while the person who are receiving also need to take note that it's not whoever speak the most or the loudest or the most frequent one will be heard. If everyone is addressing about the impact on the equity side, I believe our organizations really progress to the much better level. Now, thank you very
Love
much for
it.
the very interesting conversation, Magda. And hope everybody enjoy. So watch this space for more interesting stories from the other authors and more details from the book.
Thank you, Adele, as well. Feel free to contact us on Keynote Women if you want to learn more about our stories. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.